Hey, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're talking about in this video is basically how to catch bass in the wintertime. So bass fishing in the winter months. It's the time when most bass fishermen struggle the most to catch the fish because, they're cold-blooded. Bass are just like a snake or a gator or anything else, So they need heat in order to make their bodies work, and obviously it's cold, so their bodies aren't working at full capacity. So they're lethargic and just slow, but they still have to eat, so you still can catch them. You just got to find them where they're going to be, and that's what we're going to talk about here in this video. So, all right. And the way I have this broken down, so bass fishing in the wintertime is, I'm down here in Florida, so our winter is a little bit different from your winter if you're somewhere up north or something. So we aren't necessarily dealing with too many places where the water's 50 degrees or less. Northern Florida does, but I'm down here in South Florida. But anyways, I'm going to break it apart in two different sections. So we're going to go with 50 degrees or less water temperature, and then 50 to 55 is what we're going to go with. So 50 or less, or 50 to 55. All right. So in 50 degree or less water, you know that you're going to have to go down deep to find these fish. Water at the deeper parts of the lake or whatever area you're fishing are going to be the most stable temperatures, and that's what they want, is that temperature stability. They can handle pretty cold water, but they want it to be stable. So and they like it deep because they can just move up and down the water column a little bit if they need to regulate their body temperature up and down, depending on what's going on. So when you're fishing for them, you got to go deep and you got to go slow. And they're probably going to be relating to some sort of structure too. So just think any sort of, stuff in the water there. So a nice big slope going down there. It could be just rocks underneath. It could be, tree stands if it's one of those flooded type of areas. So deep structure is where you're going to find them. And you want to really have a slow presentation because, again, they're not interested in having to chase something that's moving real fast. So what I would suggest is something that gets you down deep. So you want to use some sort of jigs. Get those down there. Just any sort of jig. It doesn't matter. Get something down there, move it real slow to where the bass are going to be. Any sort of Texas rig type of soft plastics that you want to get down there. It can be anything, a worm, it could be a salamander, whatever. Just get it down there, get it to wherever the depth they are is, and get it to them and move it slow. Spinner baits. Spinner baits basically work all the time, but you want to use the Colorado blades because they'll still spin and put out the low frequency vibrations at slower retrieval rates. The willow leaf type of spinner baits, are made for faster retrieves. So you get a spinner bait down there deep. You want to use the Colorado blades with those egg-shaped ones. So now here we are getting into pre-spawn. And now once these bass, once the water temperature gets over 50 degrees, the bass, their activities change. That's why I use that as the kind of the difference there. Because once they get over 50, they're starting to think about spawning. So this is the pre-spawn area of their behavior patterns. So they're going to start moving out of those places they hung out all winter and start kind of heading more towards shallow water. So, they're thinking about, hey, I want to be in shallow water, and when they're spawning, they're going to want some sort of a flat area, because they like a flat, protected area to, lay their eggs and have their babies. So, think about, might be some, deep area with some sort of flats adjacent. I don't mean shallow flats like 2 feet. It could be 10 or 15 feet deep, whatever. But, think flats. So they're going to be moving shallow, and they're going to be heading up towards, from the deep to the shallows, somewhere near flat bottoms. That's pre-spawn, what they're doing. So now they're starting to warm up too, and they're hungry because they haven't been eating for the cold parts of the winter. So now you can start pulling out your crankbaits and things like that. A red crankbait works really well this time of year because of crawdads. Crawdads hibernate. So, you know, they're asleep for the winter months, and then they start waking up around these temperatures as well. And that's really one of the main source of protein for most of these bass, wherever you are in the United States. So that's why red, if you ever wonder why red baits work so much better this time of year for the pre-spawn, that's why. That's what you want. So pull yourself out, crank baits, and you can also start fishing a little faster. So you can pull out your spinner baits, you know, with the willow leaf spinner baits, and again, start you know, reeling everything in faster. Suspending lures. Now they'll go after those too. So any of your, you know, minnow-like lures that you're going to have suspending are going to work well. Basically, you can start using everything in your tackle box once the bass get in this pre-spawn mode, because they're really hungry. But the next one we're going to talk about is how they act in the spring. And the springtime is the best time to catch bass. Bottom line, they're just starving to death, and that's when you're probably going to catch your bigger bass. But winter months, you know, we still want to fish in the winter months when it's cold, but you know, this is how to do it. This is definitely how to do it. And every degree makes a difference. So, you know, bass is going to act, you know, maybe you find an area you're in wherever you are, pond, lake, whatever, and you know, you find a bass, and you know, those bass it's 53-degree water, let's say. Well, they're turned on in that water, and you say move around the corner when those bass stop biting, and you know, the water is 51 degrees. Well, 2 degrees makes a big difference, not getting any bites. So really, you just got to find the right temperature and where the bass are and maximize that situation while you got it. But anyways, I think that's about it. You know, I'm going to start making a few of these different ones about bass, and you know, when to catch them and how to catch them and all these different things. So go to our website. It's www.fishyourassoff.com, and you know, there's all kinds of information. Saltwater fishermen, freshwater fishermen, it's all there. www.fishyourassoff.com. But I think that's it for today. So until next time, we'll see you then. All right. Bye-bye.